The 3D star tool is used for giving you a 3D result to any virtual goal like a PDG or a fly on where you've had to choose the altitude of that goal. Now to use this tool, we've got a couple of things we need to get set up, so we'll jump straight into it. In the settings, first thing we need to do is set our main map file. Up the settings here, into our maps, the northern map, select the file. This will become obvious later on. Next thing we need to do is set the altitude of the goal that we're setting. This will obviously depend on the task data, pilot choice, etc., but let's just say it's 1500 feet for the moment. Next thing we need to do, we'll bring our map up, set up a couple of things for this simulation. This is how I recommend you train with this to get your head around it at home. We open up our NMEA simulator, put ourselves on the map here somewhere, and we can give ourselves a direction. We'll just give ourselves 1 kilometer per hour and we'll start navigating. And we have to select our goal, so we'll just drop a goal in the middle of this section here and we will navigate to it. Now for this tool to work properly, we need to have some elevation as well, or some altitude for the balloon I should say. So if we open up the altitude simulator, we'll start that off 1500 feet. So we're absolutely dead level with the goal. So at the moment you can see, because we're at 1500 feet, our goal is at 1500 feet. Aussie target says we're 494 meters away, and the 3D score says that we're 494 meters away. They will vary by about a meter or so, calculations that are going on, but basically it'll be pretty close. As we increase our altitude, jump up to 2000 feet, you can see that our 3D distance has now increased to 511 meters. On the ground is 487 as we slowly get closer to it. The tool is now telling us that we need to descend 500 feet to get down to the correct altitude of the goal, and we need to be doing 18 feet per minute at our current distance to get there. They're the main things that the tool will tell us. Obviously the further above the goal we are, the more our 3D distance increases, and the more our speed increases, the faster our rate of descent becomes. So you can see here we're only 470 meters away, 160 meters away from the goal, but we are 2,500 feet, 2,400 feet above it. We're going to have to be 500 feet per minute to get down to that goal, down to 1,500 feet. Once our speed increases even more, you can see we're at 2,500 feet per minute required. We're never going to get there. So that's the first part of the tool. The second part of it is the accuracy problem that we've got with mapping in general. And this is a function of the resolution of the maps that you're often supplied for competition and zoom level limitations within Aussie Explorer. So as you can see, trying to gauge exactly, I'm going to slow this down so I've got a bit more time to talk, but trying to gauge how close you are or how close you're going to pass to this target, you descend ourselves down to a slightly more reasonable altitude, becomes really difficult, because you can look at that and you can say, yeah, look at that, we're perfectly on track, but we're 400 feet above it and we're going to pass through that really well. Well, this is where these tools come in. So the first thing is I suggest everyone turn off their scrolling map when you're trying to do this in flight. It stops everything jumping around on your map. This is the amount that the computer needs to redraw and everything else. Just makes life easier for me to read it. I can have the goal centered on the map, and then I can fly up to the goal, a bit like it's happening in real life. So straight away here we've got two tools. We can center the map on the goal, and button, we can also, if we need to, center the map on ourselves, on which way you want to do it, and to center on the goal. Second thing we can do is draw some range rings around the goal. These will draw rings at 5, 10 and 15 meters. As you can see, 15 meters on the accuracy of this, or the zoom level of this map. It's good, but it could be easier, it could be better to read. This is where the map button comes in. Hit the map button and change us over to our internet maps if we've got them set up. Need to do this early enough because it takes a second for everything to load and find its position. If you don't have an internet connection, it'll just put a blank map on the screen. Doesn't matter, you'll still get your range rings. Now you can see, zoomed in, we've got some landmarks maybe if we're using the satellite map. More importantly, our 5 meter ring, 10 meter ring and 15 ring a lot bigger on the screen, and we can zoom in further and get a much better idea of how we're going for our track. So you can see that we're tending to veer a little bit left here. Bring our altitude down a little bit more. It's going to dial us track right inside that 5 meters. And you get a better idea of how you're going. Now, I would often find, depending on the speed you're doing, like when we're in Northam, it's all happening at sort of 15, 20 k's an hour. So at this really tight zoom level, you know, they're shooting across the map pretty quickly. So having a look at where this line is going to pass through these rings becomes really important for understanding whether you're on track or not. As you can see here, about to fly through it, we're at 1700 feet. It's telling us we need to be doing 1000 feet a minute down, 1200, 1400 feet a minute down. Obviously at that speed you're never going to get it, but you'll see as we fly pretty well through the center of this, our result is going to be about 6 meters. Was the best we got. We went through the middle of that. Now if I slow this down again, bring us back to 1 kilometer per hour, I'm going to reset our position, start our simulation again. Bit of a course adjustment, and we'll see now if we bring our altitude bang down to 1500, that our distance to go here, 42 meters, our 3D distance, 42 meters, are pretty well going to match up. And that just gives you an idea. Now if we're below the goal, the arrow points up, telling us that we need to go up 400 feet. We need to be doing about 170 feet per minute to get there. Likewise, if our altitude is above the goal, the arrow changes to down. Now 300 feet above the goal, we need to be doing 144 feet per minute down to it. It's for your own peace of mind, so you can understand the calculations. Take yourself 1000 feet above the goal, now out to 337 meters compared to distance to go of 31 meters. You're paying, 300 meter penalty basically for being 100 feet instead of 1500 feet. So well worth doing this few exercises with this at home to see what you think. When you're finished, if you want to clear these range rings, X button, they'll disappear off the map. Go back to your competition map, hit the map button again. Will take you straight back to your normal competition map. Recenter on yourself, and away you go. Get on with your flight. Watching.